given this piece of Cherry Burl. It's extremely large, extremely wet, and very, very heavy. It's well over 150 pounds. Chainsaw made it fairly easy to carve it up into 4 or 5 different lumps. I'm taking one of these onto the lathe, and the first stage of this project is to get this onto the bandsaw, make it as fairly round as possible, putting on a faceplate and mounting it onto the lathe. You can see here the bark inclusions are pretty extensive, so the thing here is to just get this bark chipped back, see what's underneath, and come up with a plan of attack. It's a very nice piece, to be honest. It's large and it's very heavy. So you can see here that the Cherry Burl material underneath this bark has some very, I'll call them deep cavernous cracks, and they're filled up with the burl wood, of course. So the idea here is to get most of this bark off, reveal what we have in terms of the cracks or fissures. So now we can see for the first time what is at hand, and we have some very extremely large bark inclusions on the side, and a gigantic cavernous fissure on the other side. I didn't want this to be a smaller bowl than it already is. We're talking around 12 inches at this stage, and a 9-inch deep bowl. So I want to keep those proportions in check and get most of this bark out of these fissures and exposed. Then I'm probably going to use CA glue just to stabilize what's remaining on the outside of the bowl, and possibly going for a straight through look in terms of the inside and the outside. But I don't know, we'll just keep on looking through this and see where we get to from that point. So a circular wire brush on the end of the drill here. I'm going to use this and other gouging devices to get this highlighted area on the outside of the bowl, which may or may not become the inside of the bowl as a void. We'll see. I'm going to use the thick scrapers for the outside edge. It's getting close as I want to be on the outside of the bowl, so I'm going to use the right hand side beveled scraper to make the final cuts on these outsides. Okay, that's coming up nicely. There's still some tool marks there, but I'm going to use CA glue to stabilize some of these voids here, so that the bark inclusion that's going to remain does remain and doesn't fall out of the bowl later. This is a fairly wet material. It's as I said, it's been cut down probably 3 or 4 months ago, hasn't had a chance to dry, chopped up in blocks, and a block's been put onto the lathe. So it's a very high moisture content, so I'm going to make the walls fairly thin. That's why these voids are going to be protruding through the side of the wall. And there will be some ovalization of this bowl, since it's not going to dry before turning. Now, I could have twice turned this bowl. That's another option we could have had. But my experience with Burl, particularly with this type of deep gouged bark inclusions, it can end up pretty well disaster. And I don't like going in with epoxy on some of these things. I want to keep it as natural as form as I can possibly can. And you know, you've got to admit, this figure here is just amazing. So it's going to come out very, very nice. Having sanded back to 320 grit and the CA glue now placed inside the voids, I'm quite happy or pleased with the outside. So this cavernous void here is going to affect the bowl itself. I'm certainly going to be turning the inside, and possibly you'll be able to see the inside of the bowl through this. Just going to see how this all turns out. So round to the front and start hollowing the bowl out. Nice figure going on there. Perfect. Still got some ways to go. I was going to make a bowl within a bowl, the particular tool that I use for doing that, but I've tried that with burls before, and the catches in that particular tool will delaminate the foot from the back of the chuck. So unfortunately, it's got a lot of turning to do on the inside. Okay, so hogged out most of the interior of the bowl. I'm just going to stop the lathe and back off the tailstock. Going to remove that centre support nub. Snap that off. Could use that for a little lid later on. Now you can see in here, if we take a close look, aside from all the nice figurine, we're starting to see the interior of the bowl breaking through those voids from the outside. So this is probably only about 1/8 of an inch here. I'm still going to go down to as far as I can on the rim here. I'm actually debating to leave the inside of the bowl a little thicker. Going to get back in there with just a bowl gouge, get a little bit more depth on the inside, while being careful for these voids that are showing through at the bottom as well, but they don't seem to be connected through to the outside, so we might get away with that. I want as a maximum of this figure as I possibly can. Got a bit of the, yeah, it's looking quite good. Keep on going. The calipers out there and just see how close to the bottom we are. You can never really tell until you've, we've got ways to go. We're probably sitting on the bottom anyway, a good near 2 inches to go. So carry on. So we got the inside of the bowl down to is where it needs to be. This wood is still wet, as you can see. We've got almost water dripping out of the bottom of the bowl here. Well, it's going to get some CA glue to seal these little bark inclusions so that they don't come out ever. I'm going to be pretty liberal with this stuff because at the end of the day, it's all going to be sanded back. By the way, this is Starbond's super thin CA glue. For Christ's sake, don't get it on your lathe bed. You're going to be pushing your tool rest around all day long if you get this on the surface, so be careful. Just put a bit of cardboard down on the lathe bed to cover it up. Okay, wait for that to dry and I'll get the sanding out to 320 grit. Using Mylan sanding sealer just to seal this bowl. Then it's going to be followed up with some Acks paste, Acks polish and friction polish from Mylan's. So we'll get this sanding sealer on and we'll give it a few more 320, maybe 240 to 320 sanding coats. Now you've got the bowl turned around from the truck and it's now on the vacuum truck, so we're going to take off the foot and dress up the bottom. And once we get the foot off, we'll show you how it looks. Retrieve the tailstock, replace that with a 1-inch Forstner bit. Spin this for around 400 RPM and it should just take away that protruding nub, and the pressure from the Forstner bit pressing against the bowl and in turn to the vacuum truck shouldn't really go any place. Touch wood. That's about it. Bit of sanding to 220 grit and a bit of a polish, and the metal in place, and then we can see how it looks on the final stretch. So the project's finished from this monster piece of burl, piece taken off, and using the finishing coat from Acks abrasive paste and the Acks polish. I've left this a fairly matte surface, given its natural look. You can see there's the inclusions. We'll get a little bit closer there. There's the very deep inclusions. It goes right through to the inside of the bowl, and then the inside of the bowl to the outside. Just get that into the picture there. Quite pleased with the result at the end of the day, actually. The actual figure of the Cherry Burl is simply amazing. You can see there on the burl place, on the burl inside, and some of the sapwood that is from the tree trunk itself on the inside, and the outside there, of course. Left that bark inclusion there, remembering that we use the Star Bond thin CA glue to stabilise all of that wood. It's not going to go anywhere. All of this won't alter in any way. What will alter, of course, as the bowl dries out over time, there'll be some ovalisation for sure. There might be some cracking, although I doubt it. In my experience, when you're dealing with burls and shaping them this way, there is no sort of grain strain to unravel and cause cracks. That's the way I look at it anyway. I mean, there's a little bit of sapwood and some grain structure there, but it's pretty well embedded with everything else going on in this bowl. I've got my metal there upside down, of course. Medallion, I should say, metal. And yeah, this is a very good project. Been happy to see it. Guys, thank you very much for following me in this video. Next one's coming up next week. Usually release these videos every Tuesday. Keep on watching. Those that haven't subscribed, please consider doing that. At least leave some comments below. See what you guys think about it. Cheers, guys. Next week.